Father left me an acre of land and a bunch of green holly and ivory.
A Town Called Autumn. Written and directed by Regan. This is a production of Regan's Voice.
My morning alarm does stir me once more, but that is all that fills my ears at the exit of my slumber. No bird song, no sounds of twigs, of the nearby tree gently tapping on my window in the breeze, no sounds of leaves frolicking along the dew-kissed ground, nor any stirrings from my friend in the attic. Not one more. All sounds feel twofold in intensity, and all sounds are only those that I am making. The rustling of my duvet, the gentle release of air from my pillows as I rise to sit up, the slight creak and snap of my floorboards as they take the weight of my frame, and the sudden ping of a mattress spring as they release from having to hold me. Have you ever just felt heavy and wrong? Like you can almost anticipate something dreadful happening before it does. Or perhaps that feeling attributes to something happening far away, to someone you care for. However, will reach your ears sometime later, when all memories of the before-mentioned feeling have faded. Have you ever had a sinking feeling in your stomach? Well, what I'm feeling is quite the opposite. A slight tugging upwards, gradually increasing. No, not just my stomach, but my whole chest and all my organs within my complicated ribcage. I feel off-balanced and stagger to my bedroom door, using what is left of all my strength that feels robbed from me in almost an instant to tear it open. The china of the kitchen seems to be rattling gently, but that too seems to be increasing in gradual ferociousness. A few decorative plates and bowls are dislodged from their stands and hooks and topple to the ground, smashing into hundreds of glistening shards. A mug looks to be joining them on a downward swoop, but instead rears back up in a swooping arc and implodes on the ceiling. Mother. I drag my wrong-feeling body down the hallway and hope desperately to see Mother still sitting on the sideboard. However, to my horror, and my gaze that it is drawn upwards into the rafters by the gradual trickling of thick soil, weighed down after her recent watering, there, her leaves pressed firmly into the wood, is my mother. I call out to her, and I see her shakingly reach out a small branch in my direction. She holds it there in mid-air, shaking slightly before it is violently ripped back upwards, causing it to snap in a cloud of splinters. The wood she lies upon creaks and cracks from the force of her being pulled up against it. Not being able to reach her, and only watching in shock, I see small bits of her pot start to fall away, from the outside at first, but then being pulled at all sides inwards. Her branches fold into herself as if she is giving herself one last hug before she is torn through the ceiling and into the roof space above. I reach out after her, believing, no wishing, that my gesture was enough to bring her back down, but only half believing the gesture myself. Deep moans and groans get gradually louder as the floorboards can be heard splintering and cracking from the pulling force. My clothes, once loose on my gaunt frame, feel tight, like they yearn to be free of me. So with little resistance I raise my hands above my head and allow my shirt to be swept from me and up through the hole in the ceiling, like the dregs of washing up liquid being pulled down a drain hole. The pulling force only continues to increase, and soon I feel my crooked feet start to lift from the polished wooden ground and up into the air. I orientate myself so I'm looking down at the floor, back towards the ceiling, and witness water pipes burst in both the kitchen and the downstairs lavatory. Thick trails of water like worms snake their way past me and up through the holes, grazing my skin, but leaving no wet mark as not a single droplet is left behind. My back gently rests on the ceiling. However, I know from the fate of my mother that my resting place will not be gentle for long. Already I can feel my lungs being pulled against my back, my spine starting to be yanked left and right, like a child hand in yours at a theme park, desperate to embark on every attraction at once. I feel the sensation of a peelable fruit, as whatever force this is finds the weakness in my dead and dying skin, and like peeling a sticker from a child's activity book, releases me of it. I hear what must have been quite a cluster rustle against the roofing of the attic as it vacates on its journey to who knows where. with a swift snap and crumple from the roof finally giving way to my splayed form, I too ascend into the attic space. I see briefly as I pass through large spiders, hanging partially onto their burrows, and their other legs desperately holding on to long matted strands of web that tiny babies hang on to, as they are all tugged in an upwards direction. As if they were waiting for my arrival, the upwards pull becomes too much, and each of the little ones are yanked free from their lifelines and float around me and then past me, out of another hole in the roof that I feel myself too being dragged through. There is something indescribable about watching your house slowly get smaller and smaller as you look down on it. It is nothing like travelling away from your home and looking behind you as you traverse the land, for you know at some point you will be returning. Already from the height I am, should I get released from this pool, I would return home, yes, but as a corpse. Looking to the left and right, I can see others ascending with me. Mr. Evans, presumably ripped through the glass ceiling of his tropical greenhouse, still holding a large pair of garden shears. Miss Crickety, slowly spinning like an asteroid knocked adrift in space, and Uncle Dusty Ears ascending straight up like a pencil, the much lighter dust pouring from his ears in two thick torrents and up into the sky. Perhaps I could reorientate myself to be facing upwards. After all, if this is the last I am going to see of my home and my acre of land, I may as well avert my attention to what had changed things so utterly. Seeing what I assumed to be one of the beacons of the library still ablaze in blue flame, I paddled through the air, grabbing the heated metal with both of my clawed hands, feeling a rush of cold pain as I do. With one swift movement I push against it, and thankfully it is enough to spin me around. Making sense of what I am seeing may take longer than I have, in truth. However, I will indeed try my best. Have you ever observed the many holes of a beehive, spaced equal distance apart with spaces in between? Now imagine that, but in the sky, with many of what I can assume to be lighter matter and objects spiraling towards each of the holes. However, and I am going to get a little personal now, what was the most disturbing thing was not the destruction of my home. It was not all the people locked in a permanent flight, not even the snapping noises my mother's body made before she vanished from me for always. Very little of what was being taken up towards these holes was actually going into them. What appeared to be happening more so was what had been taken up before me, now occupied the spaces in between, being pulled from all directions, but never being entirely taken in. Is this what awaits us all? From the point of entry, do we simply stay forever circulating and moving around in the in-between spaces, being pulled at from every direction, never dying, but never being truly alive, our feelings intensified to breaking point, while almost feeling nothing at all about our current situation and the loss of our acre of land?
You have been listening to A Town Called Autumn, Episode 5, Beyond. Written, voiced, and directed by Regan. This has been a production of Regan's Voice.